This video will make you rich. And I really mean that. I can almost guarantee it. But not the way you think. I'm not going to give you a side hustle. I'm not going to sell you crypto or some secret investment. I'm not selling you anything. This video will make you rich if it breaks one thing. The fake picture of rich that social media sold you. Because here's the truth. I learned in the hardest way possible. The richest man I know is not the richest man I've ever met. I've met people with way more money than him. I've met real multi-millionaires here in Brazil with my own eyes. People that literally had gold in their walls. I've watched men drive Rolls Royces, Lamborghinis, McLarens, cars that cost more than pretty much every middle-aged house in my country. Those men are wealthy, no question about it. But the richest man I know is a doctor named Alex. And the day I walked into his house, I finally understood the difference. So, stick with me on this one, because by the end, I want you to make a lot of money. If you're a man, I think that's your duty. But I also want you to know that the thing nobody told me for years, money will make you wealthy, but it will never make you rich. And those are two completely different games. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, so let's start with two words because people mix them up. Wealth is having money, and that's it. Richness is having a life worth coming home to. Please pay attention. I'll read it again. Wealth is having money, and richness is having a life worth coming home to. A man can literally have millions in the bank and be wealthy, and the same man can be poor in every place that actually matters. Poor in family, poor in peace, poor in love, poor in faith, in purpose, in people who would cry at his funeral. You can win the money game and still lose your whole life. And the scary part? You can do it while everyone online is clapping for you. Now, I need to be clear about something really fast. This is not one of those money is evil videos. It's not. Being broke is not holy. Being broke is not deep. A man who cannot pay for his family is not spiritual. He's just behind. Money is real. Money matters. Money is good. A man should build, work, invest, provide, and carry fucking weight. Make the money. Seriously, make a lot of it. But money is a tool. And if the tool becomes the whole goal, you lose. And before you think that this is just me being soft, it's not. There's a hard proof behind this. Real science. There's a study out of Harvard. Have you ever heard of Harvard? The longest study on human life ever done. They started it back in 1938. They followed 724 men for over 8 years. All the way to the end of their fucking lives. Rich men and poor men, doctors, factory workers, they tracked their money, their jobs, their health, their marriages, everything. And after 8 years of data, they asked one question. What actually makes a life good? You would think that the answer would be money, or fame, or success. It was not. None of those. The clearest finding in 80 years was this. The quality of your relationships is the single biggest thing that decides your happiness and your health. Not the bank account, not your title, the people around you. The men who leaned into family, into friends, into community, those were the ones who thrived. And then there's the other side of it, the end of life. There was a nurse who spent years with people in their final weeks. She wrote down what they regretted the most right before they died. You know what nobody said? Nobody said, I wish I'd bought a faster car. Nobody said, I wish I'd worked for more weekends. One of the most common regrets was the opposite. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. They wished they'd stayed closer to their friends. They wished they'd let their family and themselves happier. And at the very end, when the line stops, not one of them was thinking about a Bugatti. They were thinking about people. So this is not just me. This is 80 years of science in a room full of dying people, all saying the same thing. Keep that in mind while I tell you about Dr. Alex. Okay, let me tell you about him. There are a few things you need to know, and I'll go one by one. First, who he is. Dr. Alex is a doctor. I'd say a successful one. He speaks several languages, he's smart, calm, warm. He's not poor, let me be honest, he does well, but he's not the richest man I've ever met, not even close. I've stood next to men with 7-10 times his money, and yet, he's the richest man I know. So, why? Why would I call a normal, successful doctor richer than a multimillionaire who has gold in their walls? Here's the first reason. He has a wife he has loved since he was very young. She was the only woman he ever dated. The only one. His whole life. They built everything together, from nothing, side by side. They have 2 daughters, and twice a year, the whole family travels the world together. Together, as a unit. His office, it sits right behind his big house. So his work and his family are never far apart. Now hold that picture. A man, 1 wife for life, 2 daughters, a home. Because that's the part that the internet cannot sell you. So one day, I've actually got invited for his home. It was Dr. Alex's birthday, and this is the part of story I think about the most. This is where I finally got it. I walked in, and the first thing that hit me was the walls. They were covered in pictures, family trips from all over the world. Years and years of memories, hanging right there where you walk in. And then, I felt something that I cannot fully explain. You could feel the love in the air. And I know that sounds soft, I know how it sounds, but it was real. The house had a feeling. He told me how their days go. Every morning the family wakes up together, they sit down, they have coffee, they pray, they sing together, they actually dance together. They spend real time as a family every single day. And they don't keep it all for themselves. They help other people. That's part of who they are. And I just stood there, taking it in. This man has problems too, by the way. Everybody does. He already broke, he already failed multiple times in his career. But here's the thing. He's never alone with them. He's got a wife in his corner, daughters who love him, a home that holds him up. And that was the moment it really clicked for me. That is what rich looks like. Not a car because he drives a 2012 BMW, not a watch because he certainly can afford Rolexes. Not a screenshot because of his bank balance is full. A home. A home so full that you'd be terrified to lose it. That's the most expensive thing I have ever seen in my whole life. And you cannot buy it. You have to build the whole way through. And now, let's talk about a big lie, because we all got sold it. Especially young men, especially us in the 20s, 30s. Social media taught a whole generation that rich means a list of things. A Bugatti, a Lambo, a McLaren, the Rolex, the chain, the girls, the club, the fucking private jet, the money screenshot, the fancy apartment with the whole city behind you, looking important, looking like you made it. And listen, all of this is wealth. It's real, it exists. But that is wealth. That is not richness. And here's what they never show you. They never show you what the man does when they turn the camera off. They show you the car. They don't show you the empty house. They show you the club. They don't show you the silence after. A Bugatti can prove you have money. It cannot prove that you have peace. A Lamborghini can take you anywhere, except home to a family that actually loves you. And some men, a lot of men, they are wealthy in public and poor at the dinner table. That's the part that the algorithm hides. Because nobody is posting their loneliness. Loneliness doesn't get any likes. Now, I want to be fair here. Because there's a half-truth in all of this. You have all heard of Andrew Tate type of messages. And some of it is true. I'll say it straight. Men should make money. Men should be strong. Men should provide. Men should not be useless. All of this is correct, and I believe in it. If you're a man, making money is part of the job, is not optional, is a duty. A man who refuses to build anything is not free, is just a burden. So, I'm not here to argue with that part, but the picture is incomplete. Cars, status, dominance, money, those things can make you wealthy. They do not automatically make you rich. You can win every single one of these and come home to nothing. Money is half of the lesson. Just half. The guys yelling, "Get rich!" online gave you the first half and stopped. Nobody stayed long enough to give you the second half. Dr. Alex talks a lot about a very old idea, the definition of rich. He's always talking about King Solomon, about Proverbs. You don't have to be religious for this. Just listen to the logic. He says the man who finds good wife finds a treasure. He says the man who builds a strong family becomes rich. And the old idea of rich was never money. It was wisdom, a household, children, peace, respect, faith, a name people trusted, a legacy you leave behind. By that definition, a man can have a full bank account and be a poor man. And a man can have less money and be one of the richest men alive. We forgot that. Somewhere along the way, we shrank the world. We took rich, which used to mean a whole full life, and we shrank it down to one thing, money. And the second you shrink it to money, you can chase it your entire life and still feel fucking empty. Okay, now the part that might sting a little. A normal man with a normal job can be richer than a millionaire. And I really mean that. Picture a guy who works a regular 9 to 5, nothing flashy, no supercar, no blue check mark, but he comes home. and his kids run to the door for him. He has a wife who loves him. The dinner is on the table. There's peace on that house. There's respect. He got his health. He got his faith. He got his friends who would show up at 3 a.m. He has reason to come home. And somewhere across town, there's a man with 100 times his money, sitting alone in a beautiful, empty apartment. Wealthy in public, poor at the dinner table. Now, tell me honestly, which one of those men is actually rich? Because it's not always the one with a better car. And now, I have to be honest about me. Because I'm not above any of this. I've chased money hard. I've been deep in digital marketing. I've sat in rooms with wealthy people. I've seen the cars up close. So I'm not judging anybody who wants money. I want money too. I want to provide, I want to build, I want to be free. That hunger is good. Keep it. But I'll tell you what walking into that house did to me. It made me ask a harder question. Not how do I get more money, but what actually I am building with all the money I have. Because money with no life behind it is just a number that grows while you don't. And I realized the goal was never just more. The goal is to build a life so good that the money finally have something to serve. That's the part I've almost missed. And I don't want you to miss it too. So let me close the loop I opened at the very start. I told you this video could make you rich. And here's how. Not by adding money to your account, by changing what you're aiming at. Because if your definition of rich is broken, you can win the whole money game and still lose your entire life. You will hit the number, look up, and your house will be empty. So, here's the real thing. The thing I'd tattoo on my brain if I could. A man with money is wealthy. A man with a home full of love, a wife he honors, children he actually shows up for, faith, peace, and people he serves. That man is rich. Being rich is not having everything. Being rich is having something you'd be terrified to lose. And that's the kind of rich I want to be. And I think, deep down, it's the kind you want too. Alright, and I'm going to be real with you for a minute. Most of you will hear all of this entire story and change absolutely nothing. You'll nod, you'll feel it for a second, and when you go back chasing only money. And honestly, I get it. Money is loud. Money is addictive. But here's what I'm asking you to do instead. Do both. Go make the money. I mean it. Build it. Stack it. Prove. Win. Win big. If you're a man, that's your duty. And I will never tell you to be soft about it. But while you build your health, build the richness too. Call a friend. Be there for your family. Don't skip diners. Don't trade 10 years of your real life for a number you forget the day you hit it. Don't be the guy who's wealthy in public and poor at the diner table. Be the man with a home worth coming back for. That's harder than buying a car. That's why almost nobody does it. So that's it. That's the whole thing. The richest man I know doesn't drive a Bugatti. He wakes up next to the only woman he's ever loved, in a house full of pictures, and he prays with his daughter before coffee. And I take that over to any supercar in Earth. If this hit something in you, you're not alone. There's a free Discord down in the description. It's full of people building both sides at once. The wealth and the life. People making money, but not losing themselves to it. We hold each other to that. No course, no pitch, just people trying to build something real. And do one thing for me in the comments. Be honest with me. If you stripped away all the money, what would you have left that you'd be terrified to lose? Tell me. I'll read the comments. That's it for this one. I see you on the next one. Bye.